The first thing that we want to do this evening is to present our Dragon Excellence Awards, and we have several to present. And the students, as I was going through the other day signing these students have excelled academically, athletically, and our staff has just risen above and beyond the call, and so it's a pleasure to present these awards and to be able to recognize everyone this evening. Some of the students received multiple recognitions, and so congratulations to them for that as well. Our first one goes to Gracie Arth for Academic All-Conference in Softball. It's Gracie here, okay? Jackson Ashbrook, Academic All-Conference in Soccer. Congratulations. Bryce Bargery, pronounce that correctly, Bargery, Academic All-State Cross Country. Congratulations to Desiree Barnes, Academic All-Conference in Volleyball. Reagan Clark, Academic All-Conference Softball. Congratulations to Callan Curtis, Academic All-Conference Football. These kids are probably all home studying. Emily Edwards, 2022 FBLA State Qualifier, Organizational Leadership. She's probably leading a meeting. Corin Enzyme, Academic All-Conference Soccer, and ACT score of 33. Congratulations, outstanding. Raiden Erickson, Academic All-Conference Softball. Caden Fletcher, Academic All-Conference Football. Natalie Garr, Academic All-Conference Volleyball. Natalie Garr, Academic All-State Volleyball. Grant Garton, 2022 FBLA State Qualifier, help desk. And Grant, congratulations, ACT score 31, outstanding. And then Aaron Gino, Academic All-Conference Soccer. Kendall Harper, Academic All-Conference Volleyball. Owen Hartley, 2022 FBLA State Qualifier, Supply Chain Management.
That is someone we need.
Yes. Brett Henry, Academic All-Conference Soccer. Caleb Hush, Academic All-Conference Football. Madison Jensen, Academic All-Conference Softball. Phoenix Johnson, for outstanding performance in Special Olympics bowling tournament. Jasmine Jorgensen, cheer all-state jumper. Hunter Lorette, academic all-conference football. Grant Leninger, 2022 FBLA state qualifier, computer problem solving. You need to come up here, Grant, and work on Dr. Wyckoff's computer for me. Sydney Lockridge, academic all-conference softball. Gwen McCollister, 2022 FBLA state qualifier, cybersecurity. Contact the DOD. Addison McVicker, academic all-state volleyball. Avery McVicker, all-state volleyball class 3. Avery McVicker, academic all-conference volleyball. Avery McVicker, academic all-state volleyball. And Avery McVicker, St. Joseph News Press Volleyball Player of the Year. Lena Oberwalny, academic all-conference tennis. Carissa Oxford, academic all-conference softball. Carissa Pitzenberger, completing a 2-year hospitality and tourism management program, earning certification from the American Hotel and Lodging Association. Congratulations, Carissa. Spencer Pratt, ACT score of 31. Michael Rader, 2022 FBLA state qualifier, cybersecurity. Austin Reel, outstanding performance in Special Olympics bowling tournament. Kennedy Roach, academic all-conference golf. Bailey Robinson, academic all-conference cross-country and academic all-state cross-country. Thomas Robinson, academic all-conference soccer. Brenton Ross, academic all-state cross-country. Dalton Stuffelbein, outstanding performance in Special Olympics bowling tournament. Emerson Teal, academic all-conference volleyball and academic all-state volleyball. Nathan Vanderslice, academic all-conference soccer. Dominic Walker, 2022 FBLA state qualifier, economics. Claire Wink, Academic All-Conference Volleyball and Academic All-State Volleyball. Avery Westover, Academic All-Conference Soccer. Braden White, 2022 FBLA State Qualifier, Introduction to Information Technology. Haley Williams, Academic All-Conference Golf. Liberty Williams, Academic All-Conference Softball. Marley Williams, Academic All-Conference Softball. Dayton Wilson, Academic All-Conference Football. All-State Choir. And Dayton Wilson, 2022 FBLA State Qualifier, Computer Problem Solving, Cybersecurity and Networking Infrastructures. And finally, Drake Wilson, Academic All-State Cross Country. We want to congratulate all of these young men and women for their achievements and hope that you can repeat in another sport or another time if you're an underclassman. So congratulations to all of you, and we're proud of you. As we proceed with our agenda, you have before you, Lord, the proposed agenda, including the consent agenda, including minutes of our February 22nd executive session, minutes of the February 22nd regular session, and the financial reports. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
Moved
moved.
by Michelle, seconded by Ann. Discussion? All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion carries. Non-action reports. Dr. Robinson, construction update.
Yes, actually the winter weather and the starting to be rainy weather has not stopped us in too many things. We're starting to get more and more supplies in. I was talking to Eric last week, our foreman's job. Most of our metal siding is in now, so they should be able to start putting up all the gray areas of the school that we have waterproof. That should start coming along pretty quickly. And then we were able to give a tour to anybody that wanted it last week. We had that on Facebook and Twitter and all that. Had quite a few people show up last week just to see some of the progress. The science classrooms are all painted. Most of the grid ceilings are in, lights are in. Most of the vent work is getting done, so we should be close to having floors put in by the end of the week. And then the vocational area almost is all completely drywalled in, and just starting ready for the other stuff, the painting, those different pieces, and then grid sealing and all those. So I feel pretty confident that by the end of the school, we should be able to maybe get some kids' help to kind of move some of the classrooms back to their normal spots, and we should be pretty close to that right now. And the only thing we're probably a little behind on is the performing arts, and we're still waiting for the soundproof installation, which should come in April, and then we should get moving on that project. But it hadn't slowed us down. In fact, not having that has maybe sped us up in some other areas, so it's been good so far.
Any questions? Okay, then Jackie Peck and Pam Ice attended the Missouri School Board Association Legislative Forum in Jeff City a few days ago, a couple weeks ago. Jackie, Pam, I'll let you all report.
Yeah, it was a very informational day. Obviously, there are quite a few bills that are going through the legislature right now. Mike Reed, who is an MSBA speaker and lobbyist, noted that there were 2,245 bills this year, and nearly 11% of those, or 244 of those, focus on education. I think some of that is just due to the fact that it's an election year. Two of the big ones that were talked about quite a bit were House Bill 1814, which is a proposed open enrollment bill. MSBA is against that at this point. They would like to have several things added to it to ensure that school districts would properly vet the students that are coming and going and making sure it's for the right reasons. And then there are 4 House bills and 1 Senate bill that deal with things like proposing the school board elections go to November, declaring a political party, and school board member recall. MSBA is against that as well, and feels that it is really politicizing school board elections. This is something that we would like for you all to continue to talk to your legislators about, your House representatives. There are a lot more bills that are coming down the pike, have to do with Parents' Bill of Rights, charter expansion, teacher retirement, expanding gifted education, activity participation based on gender, and the list goes on. So please stay active. If you can, make sure that you're touching base with our House reps and our senators. And then I would also note that for me, one of the highlights of my day was going to see the students at the Students Showcase. There were 14 schools at that time representing, and it's just great to see the things that our school kids are doing in Missouri that are just above and beyond and quite incredible. So anyway, it was a great day and a lot was learned.
Yeah, I think Jackie and I had a good day. There was a snowstorm that blew in that night, like night before, that I happened to go down. Jackie and I both went down, I think, Sunday afternoon. And so, couple of things, you guys might be aware of this, but I'm, private sector and get the privilege of serving on the school board. I didn't realize there was 918,000 students in Missouri in public education. So some fun stats there. Of those 918,000 students, 125,000 students are touched by special services in some way. So those were some stats that I found kind of interesting. They really stressed to us about telling our district's story to our community, and so we talked a lot about advocating for our own district. During that session, I was told about a book called Schools Can't Do It Alone by Jamie Woolmer, and so that's a book that I've ordered, and I'm only halfway through, but I'm finding it really interesting. So a couple other highlights from that. We heard from a Senate panel of ladies that serve in the Senate, and currently there's 11 women that serve in the Senate, and they have put together a book that they have gifted to our school called You Can Too, and so I'm supposed to present this to you. And then our senator for our district is supposed to have books for our 4th grade. So at some point, I think our 4th grade will be getting that. So I'll give that to you from those ladies. It's kind of an interesting take on their history. It actually covers the 36 senators that have served our state in our 200-year history. So some interesting stuff there. I enjoyed, along with Jackie, the student showcase. Some fascinating projects that students are doing, very, very innovative things across the state of Missouri. And we also got to view some of our kiddos' artwork down there and on display. So that was really cool. So if you want to chat more with me about our experience, I'd be happy to, but I think it was a great day. And Jackie and I got to see Representative Eggleston. Representative Railsback, Dan Van, I'm gonna mess up his last name, from Savannah. We got to see him as well. We saw in the hallway, our Senator Hageman, but we didn't get to speak with him, but it was a good day. So thanks for allowing us to attend.
Just a quick update on House Bill 1814. Our retired teacher group met last Friday with Representative Eggleston and Representative Railsback, and that bill was passed in the House and has been sent over to the Senate. And Representative Eggleston voted in favor of school choice, and Representative Railsback voted opposed to it. So I just FYI, I suppose, but in our discussions, we talked about 1814 as a consolidation bill. And if we have open enrollment or school choice, then essentially that's what they agreed that's what it's coming down to. K-8 schools with open enrollment can go about anywhere they want to, and it would force consolidation. So I don't know what's going to happen to it in the Senate, but I certainly am following it, and I would encourage everybody. We have in our school district 2 state senators. Besides Dan Hageman in St. Joe, Denny Hoskins is also senator for Caldwell County, and Denny is located in Warrensburg as his residence, but of course he has his office in Jeff City, and it would be worthy of us to contact both those guys, and when 1814 gets on their, House Bill 1814 gets on their calendar, to strongly encourage them to look at that and see the consequences of what could happen. Okay, enough of that. Administrative reports. Dr. Mefford.
So you think?
All right. Can you hear me? Just a couple things. We are moving forward with creating our own police department and the process involved with that. Dr. Robinson and I had the opportunity to meet with Police Chief Basher. I had some great conversation. Was able to answer some questions regarding the process that we're going through and our plans for that, and he was very gracious, very helpful, and as well as the sheriff's departments. I've been in contact with all the sheriff's departments, and right now we're in the process of having the memorandum of understanding signed. We had sent that to our school lawyers just for proofing and verification, and they approved that, and so we are starting to disseminate that and carry on those conversations. As you know, we would need to have all of the county sheriff's department sign off on that, as well as the city police department. So that would allow our SRO or school police officer to enforce laws and to make arrests and do their duties on school grounds. But it would still require, I guess, permission from the county offices or the county legal offices. So we're continuing to move forward with that. Also reached out to our school insurance company just to see if there was anything that we needed to consider, and they pretty much gave the green light as well. So everything is moving forward with that and progressing as planned. The next step after we have the maintenance of understanding, or excuse me, memorandum of understanding signed off on, would be to secure the person and then go ahead and reach out to the Missouri Highway Patrol to receive what's called the ORI number. That ORI number is in essence given to police departments, allowing the commission. So, and from that point on, it would just be to ensure that our candidate that we hire maintains and keeps up with their certification. Qualifications for hiring initially, they would need to be post-certified and need to have those credentials, pass a criminal background check, and items like that. I will also say we reached out to Chief Basher just to seek some advice and some questions regarding interview questions and the process involved and the process that they used. And he was very open to having one of his officers or himself sit in on the committee and do the interviewing, so we can use their feedback and their knowledge when hiring the individual. So we are moving forward with that, and that seems to be going smooth. I almost hate to say that out loud, but hopefully within the next few months we'll be able to have that established and move forward completely with that. Update on the MSIP 6. I had been reporting information to you back in the fall, but had resigned doing that just due to the fact that it was ever changing and evolving. So right now, MSIP 6 is in draft form. It is now open for public comment. That session will be open, I want to say, until April. And then in May, they will have a public hearing to make the final changes or amendments to the MSIP 6. And then moving forward, July, the map data, EOC and map scores will then be calculated to set performance targets. And then December, we will receive our APR. So initially, it was decided that that would just be released to the school districts just for informational uses or purposes, but it will actually be released to the school districts in December. It will be embargoed, but then it will be released for publics in December as well. So they are moving forward with that. Some things, key things to note, 70% of that will be based on performance. So our test scores and things that we are familiar with. So that's success ready data, and then graduation rates. 30% will be continuous improvement. This is a change probably from what we're used to. So the continuous improvement portion includes a CSIP plan. They will take a look at our CSIP plan, our strategies and action steps, look at what we're actually doing within the district to see if those align. A portion of it will be from surveys, community, student, parent surveys, employee surveys, and then the district's response to the standards. So the MSIP standards, a portion of the APR will be a response to those standards. So every 3 years, districts will go through like a full-blown continuous improvement review, where members of DESE will be sent, area supervisors will be sent to the district. We will not have our area supervisor, Nancy Greeley, assigned to us, but my understanding is area supervisors from outside of our district or region will come in and do more of a desktop review. A lot of that information will be submitted electronically. In fact, similar to like the tiered monitoring that we've done in past with our federal programs. So we submit some information electronically. We also have the ability to respond in a narrative form to those standards, and then we will receive that score as well. So some things that I was somewhat disappointed in, if you think back to the changes made to the APR, I want to say in 2019, the last year we had one, we had moved from like numerics and percentages and numbers to like bands, area of bands of performance. And so when you looked at the APR report, it gave a point that the district was at, but it was on target, approaching, floor, and then on track. So they got rid of those. We will go back to a numeric. So school districts that will be accredited with distinction will have met 95% or more of the points possible. School districts that will be designated accredited will receive 70 to 94.9% of the points possible. Provisional accreditation is 50 to 69.9, and then unaccredited is less than 50%. So I don't know, that's my opinion, but I feel like we're kind of, working back to like a letter grade assigned to the school districts where I don't know that that tells the entire story. Some additional changes that you need to be made aware of. Attendance will no longer be reported via point system, but it will still be used for funding purposes. So, we will still need to monitor that and keep on top of that. In past, our students, we no longer call them subgroups, we call them student groups, but we looked at the achievement test scores of our student groups, our socioeconomics free and reduced students. We used to be able to pull that information from the applications submitted to the food service program as well as through direct certification. This year, the only numbers that will be used or moving forward will be direct certification. So if families qualify for food stamps, then those students will be designated as socioeconomic and their calculations will be included. No longer will we use the applications from the school. Some good movement, I guess, or change. Achievement scores used to calculate the MPI or that MAP performance index. It used to be if a student scored in below basic, you receive 1 point for that kiddo. Now they're going to look at where they score, that number that they score, and they could score anywhere from a 1 to a 1.9. So if they scored the high end of below basic, then this district will receive a higher amount of points. So same thing with the basic. It used to be 3 points if a student scored basic, and now that ranges to 3.9 and proficient. Rather than just being 4 points for scoring proficient, it can be up to a 4.9. So we will be getting some, I guess, credit for students scoring on the high end of those levels. And one other change that they wanted us to be aware of, once a student takes an EOC test and they receive credit for that, the student is required that year to take that EOC exam. In past, we've been able to prolong it, so if we didn't feel like the student was quite ready to take that EOC, we could wait until we felt they were ready, or we gave an Algebra 2B or a second round of algebra. Now, if we give credit in those courses, whatever it may be, those students have to take that, or it will be immediately determined, the level not determined. So it will not have a great impact, but it will just take some planning and scheduling our students. So other than that, I encourage you to get on the DESE website, MSIP6, it's in the draft form, and like I said, they are taking public comment. There are some good things, really good things about it. We all want accountability. We all want to, do right by the kiddos. And so I think it is an important accountability piece. It is an important piece to have. So moving forward, hopefully next month, I'll be able to report more solid information to you and maybe even look at our numbers and how those would correlate if using the new calculations. So any questions?
Questions or comments? Thank you. Mr. Jones, high school.
Well, I would just like to, I'm not going to read all of the celebrations that I have on my board report, but sometimes I think negativity kind of creeps in, and all of the students that were recognized for the Dragon Excellence Awards tonight and all of the celebrations that we have here, we got some kids that are going above and beyond doing some great things, and I feel like they need more appreciation and more attention. So I'm very appreciative and proud of those students for going above and beyond, and so I just wanted to give them a shout out. We are entering our very, very busy time of the school year. I just sent out a senior announcement tonight for the senior calendar and realized that there are less than 2 months of school left. So I probably scared a little bit of senior parents as well with that, but it's a calendar updating all of the senior events that we have for the rest of the school year for them. And so getting ready for the end of the school year, we're looking at EOCs. We extended our NWEA testing window through Wednesday because we lost some of those testing days to snow days. So once we get that data back, we'll kind of look at our 3 testing sessions to kind of see where our growth was and where we have areas that we can focus for the rest of the school year before we take those EOC exams. Something that we're going to try this year, Since we don't get EOC scores back until after the school year typically, we are looking for immediate EOC incentives. So it was actually Missy Harper's idea, so shout out to Missy Harper for this, but she brought it to the leadership team. So kind of doing a 3-point incentive. So a student's going to get a ticket or a point for being on time and ready to take the EOC test. They are going to get a point for effort and working through the EOC, and then they will get a point when they're finished with the EOC, sitting quietly and working on work while the others finish. So at the end of the day, if a student has received all 3 points in that EOC incentive, we're getting them some rewards like they love the Little Debbie snack cakes and ice cream sandwiches, something that's immediate, because I feel like, we've got some students doing some good things, and if we can encourage them to do the best that they can, I think we'll see those results on the EOC exam. The other thing is that, at the end of the school year, we're starting to prepare for summer school. So Mr. Warnemont and I and the counselors have met about possibly some other course offerings for summer school, maybe adding a general science, physical science back into our offerings, possibly an art class. So, something for, a little bit extra selection for students to take in summer. And the counselors and I, they went in and talked to our 8th graders and our 9th through 11th graders for course requests, and that's what we use to start building our master schedule. That is always challenging, not to overlap our singleton courses, so students, unfortunately, regardless, they have to make choices sometimes, but we try to build that schedule so there's not a lot of conflict. So we are getting ready for some of that busy part of the school year. The other thing that I'll point out is, just wanted to clarify for our, when you look at our discipline report and attendance, so we've had 113 office referrals for the school year. I mean, when you look at that, that's little less than an office referral a day. So when you look at it that way, that does not seem too bad. It just seems some of our office referrals that we're getting require the consequence of being out of school. So those 273 days are from the beginning of the school until now. And we have a few students that have been long-term suspended, so a majority of those days are coming from a few student offenses. So, and then our attendance is slowly creeping up. It's obviously not where we want to, but we're also working at going back and correcting some of those quarantine days when kids did their work. That takes some time to get that all recalculated.
Comments or questions? Thank you. Dr. Collins.
Good evening. CVMS started a new incentive for all of our students. We call it Dragon Time. It is not the same type of Dragon Time that they have at the high school. Our Dragon Time takes place before school, and it is something that students can earn based off of their academics and their behavior. So it's a before school opportunity where every grade level has a different day that they go and they just hang out in the gym. And so in order for students to participate, they have to have no office referrals for the week prior to, and they have to have all A's, B's, or C's in order to participate. So students who do not participate are remaining back in the classroom, and they are getting that individualized assistance before school. It starts at 7:30 in the morning and it ends at 7:55. So it's just 25 minutes where students can go and hang out in the gym as an incentive piece. That was created by the leadership team in order to provide an immediate positive incentive for our students. Also, we opened back up our lunchroom for the first time in 2 years last week, so that's a huge celebration for our school. Our kiddos are loving it. It's absolutely wonderful to see everybody in there all together. Our teachers are posting and tracking data in their rooms. I don't know if you noticed, it was in my board report on the 3rd page under assessment data, but it really supports our building goal of 3.2, which really evaluates the effectiveness of a variety of instructional practices, and it's based on multiple assessment data and the curriculum and analysis of that information. And so because it's being posted, we know that our teachers are talking to our students are talking to each other, and they are tracking that information in their data notebooks. So I just wanted to give a shout out because that takes a lot of time. If you talk to a CVMS teacher, you will know that tracking data is something that we do, and it is tedious, but it is definitely needed. Also, in the celebration section of the board report, there was the Pearl Harbor Assembly was rescheduled for February. It was right after last month's board meeting. So I didn't have any pictures to share last month, but there are some pretty exciting pictures in there. And if you didn't know, our Lighthouse Review Day is on Friday. That's a big day for CVMS. So we are excited and ready for that. Like Mr. Jones pointed out, our NWEA has been postponed, so access to any of those reports I won't have until the testing window has closed, and that closes on Wednesday. So I did point out on my board report that I'll have information and updated that stuff for next month. Do you guys have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Erdman?
Just go higher. I feel like I'm hungry down here, sorry. Few celebrations I want to point out. Carly Kemper was our Teacher of the Year. She's a second-year teacher, and she's absolutely rocking it. No one more deserving than her. If any of you know Miss Kemper, she's a rock star. And then Pat Ewing, she's been with us for 4 years now. She's a Title I paraprofessional, and she does an amazing job. She was our Above and Beyond the Calling recipient. So 2 gals that are very deserving of that honor. We had 14 kids qualify for our Children's Literature Festival. In order to do that, a child would have to read, it's for 4th and 5th grade students. They have to read 8 Mark Twain nominees and then test and pass on those AR quizzes. So fortunate we had 14 kiddos that got to make that trip. That's the first time in 3 years they've been able to travel off campus. The last couple of years it's been a virtual field trip, so to speak. So Miss Soper and the crew, they were excited to attend that. And then I want to point out, I know Pam, you had mentioned the artwork at the Capitol. I don't know if any of you have been to the public library. We have kiddos that have pieces down there, and then also I think we had 5 students that had artwork displayed at the Capitol. So big shout out to them. And yeah, like Mr. Jones and Dr. Collins said, it's a busy time. It's 4th quarter. Carrie and I were sitting down and we were backwards designing what the last day of school is going to look like all the way through May 1st. So very busy time, but we're excited. Any questions? Thank you.
Just right for me, I think. There we go. All right, I too would like to recognize our Teacher of the Year at Parkview. We had Shannon McBroom, a kindergarten teacher who's been with us for 2 years now. And Shannon was just a wonderful woman. She is a great teacher, and she's really just overwhelmed the staff and students with her loving personality. And we're happy to have her with us. And also want to recognize Charlene Plackey, longtime custodian at Parkview. Charlene is just such a hard worker, and she really has a heart for the staff and the kids and works so hard to make sure that all of our needs are met and is very accommodating. So that honor is well deserved for both of those ladies. I want to thank our students and our families for supporting our readathon this year. Parkview raised over $12,200 so far. Still have money trickling in. That is $5,000 more than last year. So in a pandemic and a recession, I don't think you could ask for more support than that. So we really appreciate our kiddos. They obviously have a future in sales. Another thing I wanted to reiterate was attendance. Today, our attendance at Parkview was 95%. That is such a celebration for us. We've really struggled in that area over the last couple of years, and we've started actually our attendance incentive back today. We were able to post our attendance for each of our classes and began the process of having our students look at that and be cognizant of what it means to be at school. So we will be going over those incentives with them and bringing that back with
an intention of starting back next year in August, full bore with our trophies and recognition of our classes, making that a competitive thing, because if they're not there, we cannot teach them. So we're asking for parents' support with that as well. Kindergarten screening was rescheduled due to weather, so we were able to incorporate that with parent-teacher night, parent-teacher conference night on Thursday. We were able to screen 31 students on Thursday, in addition to the 73 students that we screened who are already enrolled in Parkview Preschool. So we screen those students during the day, make it more accommodating for our families. This is the first year that I've used a Google Doc, a Google form for parents to fill out, and gave them the option of a morning, afternoon, or evening time for screening. And I think they really appreciated that. We had a great turnout. So far, we're looking at 104 students that we've screened. We usually, by this time of year, have about a 20% increase, which would take us to about an 18 per student class size. So that's perfect in the eyes of DESE, ideal for kindergarten, but last year we were surprised by a lot of students that came in that we didn't realize were in the area. So we're hoping to identify those students earlier and get them in and get those students screened and be able to meet their needs better. One of the items on the form was parents were able to note the developmental milestones. I outlined those for them, gave them examples, and they were able to identify areas in which they had concerns, or if a child had already been identified as having a physical or intellectual disability, so that we're better able to meet those students' needs. We did see that we had students coming from 13 other preschools other than Parkview, which was another part of the form that was unique. I really enjoy having that information. With 73 coming from our own preschool, it was interesting to see, and they were able to tell me specifically where they were coming from. A lot of parents take their children to the town where they work and enroll them in preschools there. So it gives me a better idea of who I have coming in and what we need to do to make sure that all of their needs are met adequately. So with that, I will close unless you have questions.
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. Special education.
Hi, I'm going to give you guys shirts. Nope, I will give them to you. I'm gonna talk and walk. So we are up to 101 t-shirts that have been made and sold. Yes. Thank you, thank you. So 101 shirts have been made and sold, which is way more than we expected. We ended up putting in 3 different orders for shirts. So I think this is going to be a hit, which is a great thing. I think I reported actually in my board report that we were at 93 or 96, but we're up to 101. So that is in full force. Preschool screenings, we have another one April 1st, but we had a screening March 4th, and we had 47 preschoolers in for screenings. So as you heard, we have 73 kiddos moving into kindergarten, so we will be filling those spots, and currently we have about 115 that we have screened that are on the list that are wanting into our program. So we will have a wait list again for next year. So that's great that these kids are coming through screenings, that we're getting them identified. So good news there. Currently with our special education evaluations, we have completed 130. That's usually where we end the school year. And we still have another quarter left. So we kind of thought this year might be like that with the break with COVID and the needs being noticed. The teachers have done a great job of identifying students and seeing if there was just a delay because of the environment and experiences, or if it's truly a special education issue. And so big time increase in our evaluations. And then this month at CIS, Kelly, in your
transitioned from the high school to CIS, and she was voted by the staff as Teacher of the Month, which is huge because it's voted on by the staff, and she has done amazing, and Jason can attest to that. We got her NWA scores, so she was not involved with them, obviously, at all first semester, and her scores have skyrocketed, which is great to see. So congratulations to her as well. It was fun to see that you walk into the classroom and there's just amazing to watch the difference. There's been a lot of turnover and changes, substitutes in that class, and so it's been great. So last but not least, Special Olympics. We want to give a big thank you to Michelle and Rich for doing physicals for our kiddos. On parent-teacher conference night, we had it set up so any of the students that had not received physicals could get them from these two, and they could participate in our track meet coming up. And actually, physicals for Special Olympics are good for 3 years, so that way they could participate in the fall as well. So elementary had, I think, did everybody show up?
We had maybe 6 scheduled and 5 showed it was right this month.
And secondary, not so much. We only had 1 show up, even though we had lots of reminders and warnings, but we do appreciate the fact that you guys jumped in and helped us out with that. Some more kiddos get to participate in Special Olympics and get to be part of the track meet on the 20th. So we also have buddies assigned to all of our students. So we have about 20 students that will participate in the track meet and 20 buddies that were picked by our principals, or the names were given, and then we contacted the parents, and so that is ready to roll. So we do appreciate that. Any questions?
No questions, thank you. Board, you have before you the maintenance and technology reports. Any questions, comments on either of those 2 reports? Okay. Next item on our agenda is communications. Any patron, teacher, or student that has comments they'd like to make regarding items on tonight's agenda, this is your opportunity for input. If not, then the next item on our agenda is approval of resignations. You have those before you in your agenda. Moved by Mary, seconded by Doug to accept those resignations. Since my computer quit, I can't read them to you, so sorry. Discussion? All in favor of the motion to accept those resignations, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. And then we will hire our 22-23 probationary teachers. Tenured teachers have indefinite contracts, so we'll entertain a motion for the 22-23 probationary teacher contracts as recommended by the administration. Moved by Mary, seconded by Pam. Discussion. Remind each board member if there's any individual related to you in the 4th degree by affinity or consanguinity, you would need to abstain. No discussion. All in favor of the motion to approve probationary teacher contracts, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Approval of personnel to hire. You have a list of recommended individuals that have been made recommended. Seconded, moved by Jackie, seconded by Mary, to approve the recommendations for personnel to hire. Discussion. No discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. We have 2 substitute teachers on our list to hire. Motion to approve.
So
Moved by Michelle, second by Jackie. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion carries. Uh-oh.
The next part is actually the insurance rates, and as you see from the sheets, we had quite a few. We actually had quite a few competitive bids. We had bids from Cigna, Aetna, Humana, and we did end up actually getting one from OSBA, which is a pooled insurance rate, which it wasn't quite where we wanted it to be, but I think it's something we will definitely look to in the future. But we would like to go ahead and continue our relationship with United. It ends up being about a not quite 6.5% raise on that. At this time, we're just accepting to go ahead and go with United. And by next month, we'll have a little bit better idea of how much the district will be able to pay towards that. But at this point, we're just accepting that we're going to go ahead and continue our relationship with United. So,
Move to accept.
Motion to accept by Mary, second by Jackie, to continue with United Health Insurance Care. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Return to learning.
This is the same plan we've been presenting for a couple months, but we've done it every month just to make sure we're within state statute. So we just need a motion to go ahead and continue to approve the return to learning plan.
So moved.
Moved by Pam, seconded by
Second.
Michelle. Discussion. No discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and the return to learning plan is approved. We have been discussing on the last couple of meetings our position with regard to a school resource officer, and so there is a recommendation to authorize a commission a school police officer. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
If you would please state the motion as it's there, then, so that we can get it in.
Authorize the commission to commission a school police officer and create the Cameron School Police Department.
So it's been moved. Is there a second? Seconded by Doug. To authorize to commission a school peace officer and create the Cameron School District Police Department. Is there any discussion on that motion? Anybody need clarification on what we're voting on? All in favor of the motion to create a Cameron School District Police Department, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. And then for the last couple of years, we've been talking about exit interviews, and we had a request by staff to have an exit interview. So I would entertain a motion from the board that we authorize the superintendent or his designee and the board president or his designee to serve as exit interview committee for those staff as needed. Moved by Pam, seconded by, you made the motion? Second. Okay. Ann made the motion. Pam seconded the motion that we establish the superintendent or his designee and board president or his designee to serve as exit interview for staff as needed. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. The ayes have it, and that motion carries. All right, moving right along. Board member comments. Any board member comments?
I would
Yeah.
just, as we heard everyone congratulate their teachers of the year and their staff members of the year, so, just huge kudos to all of those people, but also just a recognition. I noticed today that Ted Ensign passed away, and Ted, of course, was an invaluable member of the Parkview's, non-certified staff for a long time, and so just grateful for his years of service to our district.
Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Other comments? Jackie?
Just say thank you to the middle school art students that donated the bowls. They donated one for every board member, so thank you to them. That was very considerate.
If you didn't hear that, she said thank you to the middle school art students for the bowls that they donated to the board, and we do appreciate that. My comment is that as we retired educators, as we get older, we find ourselves more and more on the sideline and less in the court and in the action and participating, and then that's by necessity because we can't, not because we don't want to. But then when I see what we have going on at Cameron and those active players, our administrators, our staff, all of those students that were recognized tonight for their academic excellence, and all others that try so hard, it's easier for me to stand on the sideline and just see the good work that you do and say thank you, sincerely appreciate it. We all know these last couple of years haven't been easy, and you know what? Years before that weren't that easy either. But but by being a bystander, I can certainly appreciate your work, your efforts, and so from me as a board member, say thank you, and I'm sure that those sentiments are echoed by the rest of the board. Any other board member comments?
I just wanted to say one thing that I wanted to mention. We were down in Jeff City, and we were chatting with these young students, and one of them was working, there was probably 5 young ladies at this booth, and they were working with their chamber and the economic development in their area, and they were doing a program promoting education. And so Jackie and I had a nice conversation with them, and I said, well, what interests you about this, or why are you thinking about going back into education? And the girl said, well, our teacher showed us this video, and it was called, What Would the World Be Like Without Teachers? And so she's like, and then suddenly I realized I didn't want a world without teachers. So I thought it was kind of interesting to hear the younger kiddos talking about that from a different perspective. What would the world be like without teachers? And I don't think any of us want to see that. So she was impressive, and it was just kind of fun to hear some enthusiasm about, hey, this matters, and so we got some high school students that are interested in making a difference.
Any other board member input? I remind you that our April meeting is Tuesday, April 19th, because that Monday is a no-school day due to the Easter vacation, spring break kind of thing. So Tuesday, April 19th at 7 o'clock is our next board meeting. If there's no other business, then I'll declare the meeting adjourned, and thank you all for coming.